Somebody said, it's good that that's who you'd like to see me go live with.
First of all,
Somebody just posted, I'd like to see you go live with Amanda Seals.
You ain't shit. Angela was like, my edges are not together. I'm like, wait till you see mine.
Wait, and then I was like, well, let me lay them down a little bit. Let me put some water on them. Hey, I am hot. I just talked to Lenard. I said, we going on live because we mad.
We're mad. Yeah.
Like, I don't think you understand. So my thing is, if there are Black people working to advance the causes of Black people, even if you disagree with the means, if you know that you're not getting what you deserve right now, is there anything wrong with you asking for more? Is there anything wrong with that? No. And if there's something wrong with it, it probably has a little something to do with worthiness. What you believe you deserve.
I just feel like I was just like, I was watching your Instagram and I was watching your IG live and I was like, oh, I just said the same shit. Because I really in that octave. Because like someone had sent me a message and they were like, you know, Joe is all we got. And I'm like, no, we're all he's got. That's what I'm trying to.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, so we're supposed to endure another 4 years of Trump. Like,
it's a false choice.
Have endured. Like, that's not even like.
But that's the thing. What does Lenard say at the end of the interview? At the end of the interview, he says, I'm not talking about supporting Trump. I'm saying that I need to get something for my people. That is a false choice. We're not talking about putting you all through another 4 years of Donald Trump, but we're also telling you that you deserve more than what you've ever gotten before. I'm mad at you for putting a new ponytail in. I'm mad at you. You guys, we just were talking about edges before we came on here, and Amanda said, wait till you see my edges, and then said, you're not going to do me like this. I'm doing it. I love Black people. Like, since I'm about to snatch some edges, let me lay mine down. Oh, my God. Anyway, well.
Because I really just feel like it doesn't have to be an assumed endorsement of another candidate to simply hold your candidate accountable.
That's it, Amanda. And the thing about it is it's like, do you all understand that we're actually making demands based on our performance during the primary? Do you understand that? Do you understand that there was nothing negotiated by Black people during the primary for Joe Biden to be resurrected?
You're here.
Amanda,
you
there? Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone rang. But I was getting ready to say that people are in here, so who y'all voting for? Listen to what the hell we're saying, because I think it might help answer these tired questions y'all keep asking. Listen what we're saying. What we're saying is, during the primary, we helped resurrect his campaign. You know, I like to call him Lazarus, Amanda.
Yes, I know you do.
Yes, and you know, I think Black women are Jesus. In this context, I'm not being blasphemous for the slow people in the room. But what I'm saying is, if that was our role, then we deserve something for what we did. And all I'm telling you is, for so long, throughout the history of Black people supporting the Democratic Party, we have never received an equal exchange for what we have done with the party. That's it. We're not talking about defecting. Oh my God, I want to vote for Donald Trump. Girl, bye. Ain't nobody talking about that. We're saying, give us what you owe us. That sounds good on Chris Page.
But here's the thing. I don't like the defeatist attitude of, so if he doesn't give it to us, what are we going to do? We're not there.
That's not a choice.
Right now. We have to be demanding, and that has to start. Yeah. So when you say that line of thinking, it assumes that there's no point in asking if we're not, because it's not, that's just not the conversation. We're having a conversation about what needs to happen in the future.
Right.
And we're saying it needs to happen now. Like that, like, I don't know what folks, you know what, that's
and
right
here,
there.
and
I was
here's the
about to
other
say,
part.
I don't know what folks want. And then I realized folks don't know what they want.
The folks don't even know that they can want, that they are worthy of a want. And here's the other bad part. Somebody in here just said, where were you last year making the demands? Hello. The reason why every primary candidate except for Amy Klobuchar and Joe Biden had black agendas is because we were right here, sis. This is where we were. They're talking about where were we with Obama? We were celebrating having a black president. And by the way, many of our folks were just getting it energized and engaged for the first time. We are not too late for us to demand what we're worthy of.
Thank you.
That's just it. That's just it. And so I don't want to keep having this conversation. I'm over it. I'm tired of it. Like, I just want y'all to understand that Leonard and his interview was not the problem. The candidate was the problem. He was not properly prepared. And please understand, he was asked to come on that show and several others, including my podcast, all throughout the primary, and he wouldn't. How about that?
And even his appearance on that show today was cut short, and they canceled his appearance on Joy Reid.
Ooh. I can't. I just can't.
So it's important for us to acknowledge the fact that there's things that can exist at different. There's multiple things that can exist at the same time. Joe Biden can be a better option for Trump.
Yeah.
At the same time that he needs to be a better candidate for Black people.
Right. And that's the bottom line. So what we're saying is, this isn't about Trump. Just like Leonard says at the end of the interview, it's not about Trump. It is about us and what we deserve from this candidate. Period.
It's about us.
That's
I keep running this line because they say miracles are a change in perspective.
Ooh. Say it again for the people in the back. That's a good word.
Miracles are a change in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't come up with that line. It's from a book called A Course in Miracles. Miracles are
yeah. Okay.
And it's like, when we are talking about all the time, like, how are Black people going to overcome? How are we going to do this? We have to change our perspective. We are still looking at things as if we have to beg, as if we have to ask, as if our backs are against the wall. And what I was saying on my Instagram was, our backs are never against the wall. We have already shown that we are beyond survivors. You know, we've managed to thrive in all of the situations that we have been put in this country. And so at a certain point, we have to say to ourselves, how are we going to now really utilize our power? And that first starts with us looking at ourselves and saying, you know what? We gain our power from ourselves, not from them.
Yeah. Yeah. And
here's
us. I'm listening.
No, you know me. I'll go. So keep going.
Well, thank you. This is the great philosopher Amanda Seals, for those of you who are late and for some reason don't know. Follow my sis. But I just want y'all to know, like, somebody put in here, and I think this is a good question, because I think some people really don't know. So when I was listening to you, hearing you say miracles are about a change in perspective. If that's the case, Amanda, we might automatically and inherently get it, right? Let's say that our point of privilege is that we understand worthiness, maybe a little bit through therapy. So let's take a step back and extend grace and love and compassion to the people who really don't know better. So let me try to shift gears and put that hat on, which is hard right now because I'm frustrated because I feel like I said the same thing 11 times. So that said, somebody said in here that they were like, how do we hold Joe Biden accountable? Which I think is a good question. And I think that it is about having a body of work to stand on. One of the things that we referenced in our op-ed that was in the or somebody said in the podcast, something about your podcast. By the way, we was on Small Doses last week. It dropped, but we also dropped the op-ed. In the op-ed, we directly cite to Alicia's agenda for Black to the Future, Black Agenda 2020, and we have 3 demands. I thank you, Coach. We have 3 demands in the op-ed. Those are the things that we can start with: a Black woman VP, a Black woman Supreme Court pick, a comprehensive Black agenda. We cite 2 Black Futures Lab agenda. It is easy. This isn't hard. We're not pulling things out of our asses. We literally cite the source.
Can you speak to what the Black Futures agenda is? I mean,
yeah,
what the Black Futures Lab is?
So Black to the Future is a sister organization of Black Futures Lab. It's an organization that was stood up by our good sister friend Alicia Garza, who is a co-creator of Black Lives Matter. They went and talked to 30,000 Black people all over the country. The largest polling surveying of Black people in 155 years, and pulled together an agenda that includes criminal justice reform, healthcare recommendations, recommendations around wages, other economic justice principles. Like, all of this stuff is covered in the agenda. Has Joe Biden met with Alicia? Has he met with anyone from Black Futures Lab? Anyone from Black to the Future? Have they called them? Have they asked for this agenda? Have they signed on to this agenda? No. And so what we're saying is, in order for you to really engage us, you probably at least have to have a conversation. In order for you to really engage us, you have to, at the most basic levels, like, understand what we say our needs are. It's clear in the Lift Every Voice agenda, both in title and in sections, that he ain't talked to no Black people outside of his campaign about this. No. Yes, it includes reparations. Yes,
but
his plan does not.
He
says he supports a study.
Exactly. He supports a study of reparations, but he doesn't support for so long, the conversation on reparations has been, well, how would we ever be able to give people, reparations? Mind you, with COVID, it was like, all of a sudden, it became very easy to furnish people with checks. And, and the reality is that the stuff that he says in this Black Agenda, Lift Every Voice, it still feels very surface. It still feels very uncommittal. It's very just like, okay, I'll think about talking about that if I don't get done with all these other things.
That's right.
So what we're saying is that at the very least, and this is the thing I want to make clear. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't got no faith in these folks, in these political people. I have faith in us. And so even if our stating that we're making these demands and we want Joe Biden to do all these things, people are like, oh, well, that's just futile. They're not going to do anything. What I wanted to do at the very least is start jumpstarting us to continue this work, because maybe it doesn't flip over this time. But if our momentum is stronger from now till the next time, then we will have more of an impact next time. But we have to start. We have to actually start. We can't keep coming from the same place on the court. It's like, if zones ain't working, you got to play man to man. I mean, that's right. That was a basketball.
Come on, coach. Come on, coach, and teach. But listen, there are people in here saying that we're encouraging people not to vote, and we've never said that. True. In fact, it's the opposite of what we're saying. And so if what you're hearing is, if you can't challenge your candidate, that's like saying you can't challenge your child. You can't discipline your child. You can't hold your husband accountable. You can't hold your parent accountable. You can't hold your pastor accountable. Do you understand our taxpayer dollars pay these elected officials?
We are giving them their job.
We can demand better. And what we're doing, what we're clear about, Amanda, is what we're requiring of Black people right now is a paradigm shift. And paradigm shifts are not comfortable.
Paradigm shift.
They're not comfortable. We understand that you don't like this because you are used to feeling privileged just to cast your ballot. And while I encourage you to be a good steward over the power of your vote and to exercise it, what I will also encourage you is to walk fully in your power and understand that you're worthy of having demands.
Let's take a moment and make space for what you just said, which is folks are still reveling in having the right to cast their ballot. That's a beautiful thing. Like, we acknowledge, like, people died for us to cast a ballot. Yeah. But they didn't die for that to just be where it ends.
Can you imagine? Y'all, the ancestors right now is like, y'all still just celebrating? If y'all don't, we want you to be empowered. We had a whole convention about this years ago. Y'all got to move past this. Hold these people accountable. That's it. Like, and hold everyone accountable who you vote for. And even after the election, if you didn't vote for that person, but they represent you because your taxpayer dollars paid them, whether you voted for them or not, you still hold them accountable. This is a before, during, and after session on your political power, and we're happy to teach it. But yes, remember to vote in your state and local elections. We're not discouraging that. We're saying it should be folks looking out for a Black agenda on every level.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
And if the points are going over their heads, oh, Jaleesa, I see Jaleesa mad in all caps. If the points are going over their heads, that's okay. They'll catch up later.
They'll catch up.
You can follow. We'll show you the way. But what we're not going to do is engage the way we've always done, because if we do, we're going to get what we've always gotten, and it's not sufficient. It's not sufficient. And we're not normalizing Trump. Or that said trauma. I'm sorry, I can't read. Pray for me.
I like your word use today.
You do? What'd I say?
Yeah. Paradigm and sufficient. And I just like, you're giving me a lot of robust.
If y'all don't know, Amanda reads the dictionary for fun. So that's why she likes my multi-syllable words.
Robust
language.
Anyway,
I hope that you all would hear us, because I think me and Amanda, we're sometimes known as the angry cousins. And we're not angry. We're very rarely angry. We're very passionate. Yes. And I think that sometimes where we come from is like a space where we be hurt. We be sad. Like, really, y'all? That's what you're doing? You know, we be sad. And so the thing is, like, with Leonard today, I'm really sad because I know that at his core, he was doing what he loves to do for Black people, which is pushing our collective agenda. And the way that people are coming at him, like he in some way set Joe Biden up. He ain't script Joe Biden. You know, like, that's not it. We can't, you know, he was just doing what he was trying to do. And he wanted more time with Joe Biden. Didn't get it. Right? So this is the truth, y'all. Like, they got to do us differently. Joe Biden has spent a lot of time with white folks. He was on Stephen Colbert for the whole hour. And, you know, you hear the little white boy come on the interview twice saying, okay, that's all the time we have. We're going to have to wrap this up. You know, we talking about 12 minutes in. Like, come on, son. That's
and
crazy.
Anybody in the comments who finds themselves saying, well, where was this, yada, yada, yada. You're not helping.
We've been doing this. We knew you knew to this.
Where were you?
Knew to this. Yeah,
where
were
you
ever been?
Because if you're asking that question, it's because you weren't involved. Yeah. So if you're asking us that, you should be asking yourself that. Where were you?
Where you ever been?
So all of us need to stop being contrary, because that's the other part. Folks just want to disagree to feel like, well, I poked a hole in there. When you poke a hole in our theory, et cetera, to just try to poke a hole, you're on the boat with us. Yeah. You're trying to sink your own ship. Yeah. Like, if anything, if you see a hole, help us plug the hole.
Yeah, Amanda, that's good. We don't have all the answers. We invite y'all into the conversation. Yeah. But if you're going to stand on the sidelines and say, y'all encouraging people not to vote, y'all encourage people to vote for Trump, y'all wasn't doing this during the primary, like, we're going to call you out. If y'all don't know nothing about the two of us, we're going to pull receipts, facts, data. And Amanda's going to do it with philosophy. Okay? Somebody
and to keep with our back,
you can't make demand if you don't have leverage.
You can't.
We do have leverage. We got all the leverage.
That's what we're trying to get folks
all the leverage.
Understand. That's what I'm trying to get folks. That's what we be talking about. That's what we be sad about, is the fact that folks don't. It's literally like that conversation that your therapist has with you when people be in these relationships, and it's like, find your power. You need to remember your power. Restore your power. And it's like, yeah, I do love me. Yes, I do love me. Y'all got to be in the mirror like we are us.
Amanda, somebody said, can y'all have Joe Biden on your podcast? We tried that. He wouldn't come on. Also, let me get this, because I think this is important. Somebody said we've been saying this. I just wanted to grab this because this has been my reading material lately. Y'all see what that is? This is from Gary, Indiana, 1972. I don't know why I didn't send this to you, Amanda. Did I send this to you?
Yeah. You sent me a snippet.
Okay.
You guys sent me
I need to send you this whole thing. We've been asking for the action agenda for Black people. Political empowerment, that's all we're talking about now. Economic empowerment, human development, international policy and Black people, communications, rural development, environment protection, self-determination for the District of Columbia. This is in 1972. How do you think the folks who went to Gary, Indiana in 1972 feel about the fact that we still ain't accomplished any of that? So I'm like, can we just at least do this for our ancestors? Can we at least do this?
I mean, and that's not even our ancestors. That's our grandparents.
That is true. Okay, listen to this one part. I just want to read you this one part. It's short.
Yes, it's so damn beautiful. Good Lord.
Listen to this. To those who say, Amanda, you're going to be like, this sound like some of these fools in these comments right now. Sorry, I know all y'all ain't fools, but I'm saying some of the stuff is ridiculous. Listen to this. To those who say that such an agenda is visionary, utopian, and impossible, we say that the keepers of conventional white politics have always viewed our situation and our real needs as beyond the realm of their wildest imaginations. At every critical moment of our struggle in America, we have had to press relentlessly against the limits of the realistic to create new realities for the life of our people. This is our challenge at Gary and Beyond, for a new Black politics demands new vision, new hope, and new definitions of the possible. Our time has come. These things are necessary. All things are possible. This was in 1972, y'all. We owe it to them to get it right in 2020. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me that.
Let the church say amen, girl. I don't have nothing else to say after that. I'm going to post that on my page. That's a word.
That's post it too.
I know, right? I'm about to. Let me leave that out so I don't forget.
This really ends up being, you know, and Du Bois, you know, Du Bois said this a long time ago, and he said everything Black people do is political. And the truth of the matter is that our involvement in politics is personal in a way that it really isn't for maybe for other groups, especially white folks. You know, it's personal for us. And I say that on a number of levels, but on the baseline level, it's really just understanding that how we view ourselves personally as a community affects how effective we are as a political force.
Yes, Amanda. Yes. Yes, that's a whole word. And the thing that I was thinking about when you were saying that, about our politics is personal, do you know why our folks, our ancestors historically, even in the folks in 72, why they leaned in so hard on the political stuff? We didn't have the power economically, because we didn't change the policies yet to ensure our economic opportunity, to ensure our economic viability, frankly. So the politics were our pathway. That was the one place where we had power.
Well, we had because they stripped us of our economic.
Yes.
Because we had actually created economic strongholds in our communities when we were in segregation. And once there was integration, they not only, this is how like Black Wall Street gets blown up, right? This is how Philadelphia gets gutted. Like, this is how Durham, North Carolina, all of that happens because they're like, oh, y'all are figuring out how to do this without us. We're going to make you need us. And 72 is the generations after that who saw that get blown to the ground. That's them saying, we need to find a new way to get this back, and we're going to do this through political power. And the reality is that now we do have an ability to do that, but I think we do have a stronger economic base. And I think we also have a stronger visibility. The fact that you and I are visible, you know, in ways that our grandparents maybe didn't, we didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
You know, so there's all these other facets at work. But in 72, they were like, yo, they really took the rug out from under us, and now we need to get that shit back.
That's right. And that's the thing, is like, this is just the beginning. I want to acknowledge to the people in the feed who have been saying, how do we get involved? Again, if you guys can pull our op-ed from last week, we talk about 3 demands. There's a link in that document that cites a Black agenda. Shout out to Black Futures Lab and Black to the Future, run by our good sister friend Alicia Garza, who's done this work. Please look at that. I'm going to try to I'm going to figure out how to make this national Black political agenda available. I know Collective Pat tweeted it out a week or so ago, because it's not available online, but we will work to make sure it becomes available online. Amanda and I are going to post this piece so that we remember. This one piece can just be our affirmation and get us through.
I know.
There's a lot that you all can do. And I think start with thinking about the thing that you believe, or it could be 3 things, just like we had 3 things. What do Black people need to have a better future? This pandemic should not have hit us as hard as it did, y'all. If anything, like, some folks are coming at us like, how could y'all do this in the middle of the pandemic? We're doing this because of the pandemic. We see how hard hit we've been. We cannot afford to have a quiet meeting. We cannot afford to passively watch this whole thing just wreck us and sit passively by while our people are dying. We can't afford to do that anymore.
We cannot let politeness get in the way of progress.
Girl, put that on your story. I'm reposting that. That's a word.
The same
that
way
is
that
a shirt.
I was saying today, like, at some point, the real ones need to stop fighting each other so we can fight the others.
Yes. 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 Yes.
We gotta stop thinking that we're doing something so incendiary and for the people by calling out somebody else that you know is for the people. Like, and your version of calling out is, I disagree with your point of view. Well, that doesn't need to be a call out. That's a conversation.
Or you can just say, I disagree with that approach. Here's mine. Like, say that. But what the biggest problem that I have is, like, even earlier today, somebody who I know that I'm not close to, but I'm aware of, Isaac Hayes, came at your neck. I didn't appreciate that, because for me, I'm just like, you don't, number one, know what the hell you talking about. And two, you are taking somebody out for having a perspective that's different than yours. You talked about the way you've experienced Joe Biden so far, right? You talked about the way you see Joe Biden's history. You talked about the way that you saw Joe Biden respond to the narrative around his history.
I'm not unique in that expression.
No, you're not. And even if you were, you are entitled to that perspective. So what I want people to come back with is not an attack on you. If she's wrong, come with the receipts, to which I'm going to come back with my receipts. Joe Biden does owe Black people not just an apology, but corrective measures for everything he did to set people back from a criminal justice standpoint. He's responsible for six bills that he led with Strom Thurmond that impacted us adversely through the criminal justice system. I am so glad that he was a part of reauthorizing the Voting Rights Act for 25 years, as he mentioned at the end of Leonard's interview. But what does that have to do with economic progress? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not enough. Do more. Huh?
I said, what does that have to do with Anita Hill? Like,
or that. I didn't even hear you. Or that. And what does it have to do with, you know what it reminded me of when people say, I mean, I'm not a racist. I have Black friends.
Wait, someone just put, he did do corrective measures. They're on his website.
Okay. Well, where?
Listen. Restorative justice practices are not a statement. They're actions.
Also, wait a minute. Somebody's in here saying half of the Black caucus voted with Joe Biden on the criminal justice bill in 94. That's true. And more than almost all of them now have apologized for it and said they're wrong. It's a good place for Joe Biden to start, but instead he got on Breakfast Club talking about Hillary was wrong in 2016 for apologizing for it. That's not good, y'all. And all I'm telling you is, this is about the things that he can do to fix the wrongs from before and to talk about what he's going to do differently in the future. This is just the beginning of all that. I want to shout out Tammy Sawyer, who's in here. Tammy is an elected official in Memphis, is dope, was instrumental in taking down the Confederate statues. Also something that some Black folks, right, would say, don't do that. Don't mess with their statues. They're fine, right? Which is the same mentality we're dealing with right now about Joe Biden. Don't talk about Joe Biden. Don't call him out. You're going to get people to vote for Trump. They're going to stay at home. No, we're going to talk about this right now. He got 5 months to fix this shit, and we encourage him to get on board. That's where we are.
And let's stop undermining the intelligence of the Black community by thinking that we can't have these conversations of nuance. Let's push each other to do that. Let's stop saying things like, you guys are confusing Black folk. They're not going to know who to vote for. Like, what? So I'm sorry,
ridiculous.
But, you know,
it's
our
insulting.
ancestors managed to get slavery abolished without even having the right to read. So I feel like, you know, we've got a lot more resources at hand. And I think that if we push ourselves, I believe in us. You know, I just put a Malcolm X quote, a video from Malcolm X on when we did Smart, Funny, and Black in the Crib. And, you know, we celebrated Malcolm's birthday last week, the 19th, this week. Damn, I don't even.
It's okay. I know what you meant.
Time.
He would have been 95.
And he said, you know, and he said in an interview, he said, at some point, the Black man is going to educate themselves and they're going to educate each other. And at that point, Black men are going to be able to look to each other and say that when something happens to another Black man, that's happening to me. And he was like, and when we are I'm paraphrasing, but I'm close. And when we are able to be able to look to each other with our education and knowledge of self and knowledge of each other and consider ourselves one, then we will be able to overthrow the oppression that has been put down on us. And I believe that that's a possible thing, but it doesn't happen without us holding each other accountable. And if y'all gonna be mad at us for doing that, so be it. You know, you were mad at your mom for forcing you to go to piano lessons, and now you're happy when you go to a party and you can play a tune. That's a personal reference. I was mad.
You better leave your mama alone. She had a knee surgery today, girl. She gonna fight you. But anyway, what we know is, Amanda, that was a benediction, and so the doors of the church are now open. We invite y'all over to the side of the truth, where we are just working to make life better for Black people as a collective. And so here we are, standing in solidarity for when you are not afraid to hold your demands high, to make your requests known, and to get something for your vote. That's where we'll be. We love y'all. Happy Friday. Happy Memorial Day weekend. I am going to post this, sis, so we can both put it up. This is a good word right here.
That's a serious word.
We really do love y'all, even if you're mad at us. You'll understand later. It's okay. Yep. We'll be misunderstood right now. But you better keep our brother's name out your mouth.
For real, though. Keep it out your mouth.
That's what you better do. Don't mess with Amanda neither. I'll probably fight for both of them. If I can't fight very well, I will throw a shoe and I'll run.
I actually have quite a bit of rage.
You have quite a bit of reach?
Rage.
No, you don't.
Who?
You ain't got no rage. You have righteous anger. You have righteous anger.
I don't fight, Angela. That's why I don't fight, Angela. I keep it verbal.
Well, I'm crazy enough to throw a shoe. That's my best friend in here. I accidentally did hit her in the nose on prom night. I did hit her in the nose on prom night. I love you, best friend. I'll never swing at you again, okay? Anyway, we love y'all. God bless y'all. Good night. Love you, sis. Thank you.
Love you. Thank you.
I'm about to put this up. This was a whole sermon. This is a whole lecture.
Save it so I can get it and put it up.
Oh, I'm going to do that. Okay, bye.